Good morning, viewers. You're watching NewsX and I'm Simran. Let's begin the bulletin with the focus on the top story of this hour. Sri Lanka rolled out the red carpet for Prime Minister Narendra Modi with 6 ministers, including Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath, turning out to receive him at the Bandaranaike International Airport. India and Sri Lanka are set to unveil measures to bolster the cooperation in areas ranging from digitization to energy and defence at a meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Anura Kumara Dissanayake. As New Delhi continues its support for the island nation's economic recovery, other key expected outcomes include an agreement to link the electricity grids of the two countries and a tripartite understanding between India, Sri Lanka and the United Arab Emirates to build an energy hub at the Trincomalee. This project will dovetail with plans to build an energy pipeline. This marks his first visit to Sri Lanka since the National People's Power Alliance, led by President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, came to the power last year. The 3-day trip is expected to deepen the bilateral cooperation across the defence, energy, health, trade and digital infrastructure sectors. All right, viewers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also visited a puppet show as he arrives at the hotel in Colombo, where he will stay during his Sri Lanka visit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Sri Lanka from 4th to 6th April. Megha Sharma, Senior Executive Editor of NewsX, is joining me live on the broadcast. Thank you, Megha, for being with us this morning. How exactly is the mood there as Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on this very crucial visit, carrying the load of strategic and regional cooperation bilateral talks as well? What are you picking up this morning?
A very good morning to you, Simran, and to all our viewers. I'm here in Colombo. It's a bright and sunny day. Partly cloudy. It was raining heavily yesterday. But things are back to normal, and here is the red carpet, the royal red carpet that has been rolled out for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He will be arriving here very shortly. We take a look at the state honors that are going to be accorded to the Prime Minister. Behind me, as you can see, there is the armed forces, the Sri Lankan Army, the Sri Lankan Navy and the Sri Lankan military forces and the Air Force, who are all at this point of time at the fag end of the preparations of this majestic event that is going to unravel in front of our eyes in a few moments' time. The official time of arrival over here is at 9:10 a.m. Indian Standard Time, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be presented with the ceremonial welcome, and President Dissanayake will be the one who will be hosting him over here. There are going to be a number of ministers from the current government, including the Foreign Minister as well, who will be accompanying President Dissanayake and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the delegation that has come from India, which is part of the Ministry of External Affairs. Now, what is also significant in the historicity of this Independence Square, where this event is taking place, is that all Independence National Day events, the annual National Day that is celebrated in Sri Lanka on 28th of February, every year. The independence year was 1948, is when Sri Lanka gained its independence, fought the freedom struggle against the colonial rule of the British, and since then the Independence Day celebrations take place in this historic place that was built in 1948. It was built to commemorate the freedom struggle and to highlight then the freedom movement of Ceylon, as Sri Lanka was called back in the day. If you take a look, there is going to be the march past, the ceremonial march past that will also take place over here. I'm going to also ask my camera person to pan on the right hand side of this majestic structure, and there you see a monument that has been set up. Now, this monument is the monument of the father of the nation of Sri Lanka, Right Honorable Don Stephen Senanayake. He was the one who was the first President of Sri Lanka. He was the one who was the founding father of the independent Sri Lankan country, and the country reveres him until today as the father of the country, of the man who brought about the freedom movement and allowed it to culminate for Sri Lanka to become an independent nation. Strategic conversations that are likely to take place, of course they are going to take place, because right after the Prime Minister and President Dissanayake leave from this Independence Square in Colombo, they will be headed to the Presidential Secretariat, which is just a few blocks from here. And within minutes, they will be arriving at the Presidential Secretariat, and there are going to be restricted bilateral talks that are going to take place. Although media will not be allowed to cover that, there will be a press statement that will be released by both the leaders shortly. They will be addressing the media as well and giving out a press statement, giving out a joint statement. So that is something that we'll be covering for you as well. It's also at this point of time being anticipated that at least 8 of those MOUs that are going to be signed between both the countries. Top of the agenda, you know, it's highly touted that there is going to be a defense cooperation MOU that could be signed between both the countries. Remember, this is for the first time ever that if a negotiation such as this comes to a conclusion, comes to a culmination, there could be defense equipment that could be bought by Sri Lanka from India. So that is going to be a stride that will be taken in the direction of defense cooperation between both the countries. Infrastructure development, energy cooperation, we talk about digitalization. It is also going to be in just a few hours time that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating virtually the Sampur Solar Power Project, the NTPC Sampur Solar Power Project that has been kept on the sidelines, unfortunately, for the last 20 years. And finally, it is the prerogative of the governments of the day of Sri Lanka and India to make this movement forward so as to conclude this project, which is going to be beneficial for Sri Lanka in terms of generating renewable energy. And of course, the huge amounts of investments that have been put in by India will also see fruition.
Well, absolutely. In fact, in much detail, my colleague Megha Sharma has put it out. And for the benefit of our viewers, I would also like to put out some details that Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a warm welcome from the Indian diaspora and the members of the Indian community as he has arrived at the hotel Taj Samudra in Colombo, where he will stay during his Sri Lankan visit. Remember, viewers, this is the second leg of his foreign visit. After Thailand, he has visited now Sri Lanka, where also my colleague Megha Sharma has given out a detailed plan of what all schedules will be carried out later following the talks. The Prime Minister has said that he was deeply moved by the enthusiasm and warmth. People carrying flags of India expressed excitement over PM Modi's visit to Sri Lanka. And in fact, Megha Sharma joins me back once again. Megha, if we talk about PM Modi's crucial visit, it is very important as we have been speaking about it, that why is it very significant pertaining to Sri Lanka, as China's growing influence is also concerned in the Indian Ocean, that has heightened the significance of the closer India-Sri Lanka ties. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi last travelled to Sri Lanka in the year 2019. And this will be his 4th visit to the island nation since the year 2015, where the president, Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake becomes the first one to host the first foreign leader of Prime Minister Narendra Modi after he took charge.
Right, absolutely. It is important to take a look back at what has happened in Sri Lanka in the last 3 years. Actually, ever since COVID-19, when there was humongous amounts of humanitarian aid, financial aid that was provided by India to Sri Lanka for the beleaguered country to take control of the emergency situation that the world, including Sri Lanka and India, were fighting and trying to recover from. And then came the 2022 disaster that was an economic crisis of massive proportions that Sri Lanka has never seen before. And it was at that point of time that India, with its look east, act east and the neighborhood policy, Vishwamitra is the projection that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has put out of India across the globe, and Sri Lanka was no different. There was a humongous financial aid and line of credits the worth of $4 billion that had been provided by India to Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka has ever been so grateful for that, for it to be able to at least have the semblance of recovering from this debt trap that it found itself in because of the huge interest rates that it has had to pay to China for the Hambantota port that it had to lease for 99 years because it was unable to pay those billions of dollars to China. India at that point of time stepping in at the time of the hour, in time of need for Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka deeply appreciates it and is grateful for the gesture that was showed by India to its neighbor. Remember, we have civilizational ties. There is a large Indian community that resides in Sri Lanka. 4% of the total population of 22 million Sri Lankans actually is the Indian community. Many of them are the diaspora. There are several others who have been living in Sri Lanka for the last 4 to 5 generations. Their grandfathers and great-grandfathers arrived over here primarily from Tamil Nadu and other southern parts of the country to Sri Lanka as plantation workers and decided to settle over here. There are in fact a number of Indians who are who are part of the very rich spice trade that Sri Lanka is well known for, cinnamon trade that Sri Lanka is really well known for. So those are aspects that India and Sri Lanka want to talk about and then further foster in terms of taking our relationship to newer heights, which includes defense, which includes digitalization. Remember, now under the former president of Sri Lanka, Ranil Wickremesinghe, there was a deal that was struck between both the countries, and the UPI public payment interface was implemented in Sri Lanka. So every single time that you're arriving over here, all you need to do is open up your phone and scan the QR code and you make the payment. So that's how easy things have become as Sri Lanka adopts the UPI model that India is touted for as a massive game changer in the monetary, in the financial markets. And besides that, if you take a look at how renewable energy that has played a major role in the future investments that India wants to do. It already has done. Like I said, the NTPC project that is going to be launched by Prime Minister Modi today is an example of how India wants to take forward this relationship. There is, of course, the energy sector that I talked about, but connectivity very important. Maritime connectivity. Both nations are have the common link, not just of the civilizations, but also of the maritime ties. Talking about the Indian Ocean region, extremely important, strategic from security point of view, from trade point of view, and from diplomatic ties point of view as well. So all those aspects are to be kept in mind when the Prime Minister today meets with the newly elected President of Sri Lanka, and how ties are going to be forged forward here on, keeping both the leaders and the shared values and interests of the country and the countrymen intact.
Well, absolutely. In fact, how Colombo echoes with the Modi chants, and that is what for the first time since 2019, this is the rousing welcome that has been witnessed to being granted to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and as my colleague Megha Sharma has been rightly pointing out about how exactly this crucial visit is going to lay out a map for the India-Sri Lanka bilateral ties and further strengthening the relations between the two nations that also share a very deep-rooted historical history as well. Now, if we talk about how exactly as Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in Colombo, Prime Minister Narendra Modi upon his arrival in Sri Lanka received a special welcome. 6 top ministers of Sri Lanka received PM Modi at the airport. Sri Lankan ministers Vijitha Herath, Nalinda Jayatissa, Anil Jayantha, Ramilangam Chandrasekhar, Saroja Savitri, Paul Raj and Trishantha Abensa have received Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the airport. Meanwhile, PM Modi will receive a guard of honour at Colombo's Independence Square Day. While Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to formalize a talk with Sri Lankan President Dissanayake at the Presidential Secretariat, The Indian delegation includes External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri. When we talk about, in fact, the focus on the bilateral talks, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Anura Kumara Dissanayake will inaugurate several India-backed developmental projects, and it is going to witness the virtual groundbreaking for the Sampur Solar Energy Project. 8 memorandums of understanding are expected to be signed during this key visit. The agreements will cover defence, health, energy and digitization, including a proposal to supply for more affordable energy to Sri Lanka. All right, Megha joins me back once again. Megha, if we talk about the developmental projects that are going to be inaugurated, and also as you mentioned earlier about the MOUs that will be signed, what exactly all of this that has been planned in detail and with the focus on the vision to enhance the cooperation and also the relations between the two nations carry forward the significance?
Right, it's just going to be in a few hours' time that we are all going to be presented with what actually is going to entail those, be part of those MOUs that are going to be signed. We have been talking about, it is expected, there have been at this point in time feelers that have been sent out by the ministries within the government, both in Sri Lanka and India, that defense is going to be important, that energy sector is going to be important, digitalization is something that is going to be important. But what is interesting to note also is the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to focus on tourism. That is the backbone of Sri Lanka. That brings about ample amount of revenue, and since COVID, Sri Lanka has been wanting to fall back on its feet to bring about more and more tourists. A large percentage of the tourists that actually have a footfall in Sri Lanka comes from India. So that's extremely important for Sri Lanka, and in India wants to move forward in building those culture ties, building those people-to-people ties. Besides that, Prime Minister Modi is also going to be traveling to Anuradhapura tomorrow, where he's also going to be launching 2 of those railway projects in Anuradhapura. Anuradhapura being interestingly a pick that has been picked by the President of Sri Lanka. It is his hometown, and it is also an important destination that the current government wants to transform into a heritage city. So all those aspects being kept in mind, it's an all in all a successful visit, and it's all in all a move towards the direction that we are wanting our country to move forward with the neighborhood in the subcontinent, and of course the particular importance and focus being given to the bilateral ties between both countries.
Well, definitely. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Sri Lanka is aimed at enhancing the defence bilateral relations and strengthening the partnerships across the areas of energy, defence, trade and connectivity sectors as well. Thank you very much, Megha, for joining us this morning and giving us the overall view of what carries, in fact, the importance of this crucial visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Sri Lanka after having visited Thailand, and how exactly this is going to also pave the way forward for better relations between the two nations. Meanwhile, viewers, my colleague Megha Sharma has also filed a detailed ground report from Colombo. Let's take a look.
A very good morning to all of you. We are here in Colombo, and this is the Independence Square, the very historic place which was commemorated back in 1948 after Ceylon became an independent country out of the clutches of the colonial rule of the British. What is significant today is Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be arriving over here and is going to be presented with a ceremonial welcome which will be hosted by none other than the Sri Lankan President, who is Anura Dissanayake. Now here, if you take a look at all these preparations, a red carpet that has been rolled out for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Last minute cleaning process is taking place. We have, the armed forces who are also gathered over here, who are at this point of time ready with their preparations in terms of the march past that is going to happen, the band that is going to play. In fact, if I ask my camera person to pan on the right hand side over here, where there's a beautiful fountain, and on top of that fountain is the monument of the first premier of Ceylon, of Sri Lanka in 1948, Don Stephen Senanayake, and he is touted to be the father of the nation of Sri Lanka. There is rich history behind this expansive structure that had been created in 1948. Up until several years ago, there was the Senate that used to gather over here. There was the House of the Representatives who used to gather over here for proceedings taking place. But since then, there has been a new building that has been built, and this is a mark of historicity. There is, in fact, a memorial that has also been set up, a museum to take you back into the history, the freedom struggle of Sri Lanka. But the key moment over here, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi visit that is highly anticipated. There's heavy security all around. Like I said, the armed forces of the Sri Lankan country are at this point of time gathered over here. We are going to see a ceremonial welcome, but besides the ceremonial welcome, after that, the Prime Minister will be escorted by the Sri Lankan government, by the President of Sri Lanka, to the Presidential Secretariat, which is just a few blocks away, where they are going to sit together and hold those restricted talks. I'll get you all the information that we get. We'll get you all the visuals, all these beautiful arrangements that have been set up. So stay tuned on NewsX.
Now viewers, let's also listen into some of the reactions that are coming in from the Indian diaspora upon the arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Colombo, and how they have reacted, and also looking forward to these much anticipated bilateral talks between the two world leaders as well.
अच्छा, मैं चेयर वरिष्ठ प्रोफेसर उपुल रंजीत हेवा बिताना गमगे कलनीय विश्वविद्यालय के हिंदी विभाग का चेयर वरिष्ठ प्रोफेसर हूं, और लंका में मेरी हिंदी शिक्षा हुई। इसके बाद जवाहरलाल नेहरू विश्वविद्यालय में 2004 तक पीएचडी की मैंने हिंदी में। मैंने वहां पर एक शोध किया, जातक कथा और हिंदी लोक कथाओं पर मैंने एक शोध किया है पीएचडी की, और उसमें 547 हिंदी जातक कथाएं और 843 हिंदी लोक कथाओं को लेकर 1390 कथाओं को लेकर मैंने 400 पन्नों का एक शोध ग्रंथ प्रस्तुत किया था, और उसके लिए पीएचडी दी गई थी। और लंका में मेरी मातृभाषा सिंगली है, लेकिन मैंने हिंदी सीखी।
एक्चुअली मैं पेशल मनोज हूँ, मैं श्रीलंका के हूँ, म्यूजिशियन हूँ। मैंने हिंदी में इसीलिए बात करता हूँ। मैं लखनऊ में 9 साल सीख चुका हूँ उस्ताद इल्मास हुसैन खान हमारे उस्ताद जी से। ये मेरा श्रीलंका के गुरुजी है पीवी नंसीरी जी, ये भी लखनऊ घराने की शिष्य हैं। इसीलिए मैंने श्रीलंका आने के बाद यहाँ काम करता हूँ टीवी पे या संगीत मतलब म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री में। मैंने एक थाल बनाया था, एक ऑड बीट है वो 8.5 मात्रा मतलब 8.5 बीट का, उसमें मैंने थाल बना के वो थाल का नाम मैंने रख दिया हमारे गुरुजी का नाम, थाल नंदश्री करके। उनको मतलब सम्मान करने के लिए मैंने किया। इसमें मेरा सोलो भी है। ये हिंदुस्तानी रागदारी संगीत और हिंदुस्तानी ताल पद्धति को ये ताल आगे से यूज कर सकता हूँ। ये तो पहली बार है, पहला है। मैं खुद मतलब अभी मैं बहुत हैप्पी हूँ क्योंकि हमने श्रीलंका में पहला थाल बनाया था।
Yeah. This is first time we are really meeting. We are very happy to come to Sri Lanka. Yeah, he is our Guruji. Modi ji is our Guruji. Our Guruji. I am the leader of Sri Lanka.
Oh yes, absolutely. We are so looking forward to the bilateral relations that are building between India and Sri Lanka. Welcome. We are your closest neighbors.
We are very excited, as you can see, and I am going to just tell him one thing, that we are very proud of the India that he's making for all of us, and India has been shining like never before. I am 45 years old. I have heard stories of, pre-partition, undivided India from my parents who were born there, from our grandparents. But the way he's put India on the global map today and the way we are shining as an emerging superpower is fantastic. And we are so proud as citizens of all the fantastic work that he's doing.
We would like to welcome him, say welcome to Colombo. So this is a nice country. We have been enjoying the hospitality of Sri Lanka. So same has to be extended to PM Modi. He is making us proud throughout the world. So we are also trying to do the same.
My name is Amit. I come from Bangalore, and this is the third time I am going to meet Modi. I have met before in 19. I had the opportunity to handshake with him. He's a great leader, inspiring leader who is changing the world, not only India. So happy to be here.
Now viewers, on that note, that is all the news of the nation and the world. We'll continue to track all the developments very closely. Till then, stay with us.